Analytical ability. This is what we will be discussing in this presentation today. So let us proceed. This, I reckon, will be a very small presentation and will give you insights about what are the various thoughts that should crisscross your mind while doing certain analytics, while coming up with certain conclusive decision. So what exactly is analytical ability? It is all about your thought process, describing a style of your thinking that enables a person to break down a complex information or a series of comprehensive data into small useful bites. It uses a step-by-step methods to analyze a problem, then come to an answer or probably to a solution. In essence, analytical thinking represents a cause and effect style of looking at a problem and is sometimes refers to as perceived something through multiple lenses. For example, analytical thinking involves understanding a relationship between leaves and the color green. How do you look into it? Does it because it is because of the photosynthesis that comes around it? One could ask why are the leaves green, and then use can analytical thinking skills to tie that answers together. When it comes to analytical thinking, let me say it point blank, facts are being used to build information. You don't rely on imagination, you don't rely on any uncertified, or should I say unverified data. Please, it is the thinking requires evidences that should support and lead to a logical conclusion, and that is what analytical thinking is all about. It do not worry about being analytical, won't, because it won't kill your creative ideas at the first place. It will in fact be very logical and very rationalize your all your presumptions that you come across with it. Let us understand what is analytical thinking. It involves being an open-minded in your scheme of things. Absolutely open-minded. Be aware of the personal biasness, prejudices in yourself and others. It is being open-minded, be open to the new ideas, be prepared to consider all possibilities and viewpoint. Be willing to reassess your views and aim for the balance henceforth. That comes about with analytical thinking. Evaluating and identifying purpose, motivation, bias, vested interest, facts, opinion, assumption, incorrect, irrelevant information, and missing information per se. So, what are we looking into? It is all about evaluation, identifying, being purposeful in your objectives, in your way of handling the problem, the issues, the events. You should also analyze what are the vested interests of different parties involved in an issue. Try to segregate facts from fiction. Try to form an opinion, a public opinion that will help you to mitigate the cause, the assumption thereof, the incorrect or irrelevant information. What I'm trying to do it out here is to understand if there are any missing pieces, missing blocks in action. Try to figure out those missing information, and then it becomes very helpful in understanding, evaluating, and probably coming up with certain conclusions altogether. So what should we look into it? Inconsistency. We should be looking for supporting statement, comparing and contrasting, weighing in, and making judgment thereby. So let us understand analytical thinking involves being open-minded and a long complex procedure of evaluating and identifying. Then perhaps we should start with reflecting of what we have gathered on data. We need to understand we are definitely open-minded. We have gathered data. Now this is where we need to put all the pixel in places and try to reason out, thinking logically, developing a reasoned line of argument using valid and reliable evidences, avoiding appeals to the emotion, being objective in your process altogether, and asking a question that should always demonstrate how legible you are in your thought process, fundamentally to demonstrate analytical thinking expected at a higher level. You need to ask a lot of questions and be prepared to critique yourself, your design honestly without biasness, as the case might be. This is what we look at analytical thinking per se. Analytical thinking is a part of design thinking. Design thinking is a whole process, but in place of purpose of coming down with design solution or to innovate. It requires both a very strong analytical skills and creativity. Analytical thinking is the ability to read, see collected data and make sense of it, identify the problems or trends or insight, whatever the context is all about it. You need to see the things thoroughly, very transparently, and please do not view an issue or event from somebody else's lens, from somebody else's prism. Define your own prism and probably analyze it through your own very lens. Although it is often referred as a design thinking, it is quite different. And in fact, then design thinking goes further on how you turn that information you have learned into a solution with creativity. So it's all about thinking out of boxes. But in design skills, where it is designing business models of physical products or website. Now, design thinking also encompasses about creativity, about the whole work process in itself, creating a problem-solving solution as the case might be. This is what is analytical thinking is all about it. Remember, analytical thinking is a part of design thinking. Design thinking is a part of looking into the data and probably coming up with solution which is out of boxes because you are mixing creativity into it with the solution. So it's a part of design thinking, but you have to be relevant with your data. And probably we are not looking at creativity as a solution part of it. We are basically looking at the work process in whole at itself. So probably we are looking at problem solving rather than coming up with a solution. Differences between thinking. Analytical thinking differs from reflective, critical, and design thinking. In that fashion, what happened? Its analytical abilities is all about step-by-step approaches to break down a complex problem or a process into a constituent parts. What are the small fragmented milestone that we are talking about it? Identifying the causes thereof and probably trying to figure out a pattern, analyze a problem to arrive to appropriate solution. Critical thinking is an intellectual stimulating discipline, process of actively and skillfully conceptualizing, applying, analyzing, and evaluating information gathered from observations, experiences, reasoning, and communication as a guide to belief and action. Remember, reflective thinking is a thought process that occurs after a situation or a learning process. It's after an event, post an event. Remember, that is what reflective thinking is all about it. This thinking that allows people to make decision about how they would approach a particular situation, create a certain things in future. Although reflective thoughts may occur in many places, reflection is a written commentary which you must show your tutor how you go across with it. Design thinking, on the other hand, is balances analytical and intuitive thinking all the way around. It combines an openness and explorations, and perhaps in terms of mentality, and probably thereby striking a balance between innovation and system-based level. Analytical thinking is driven by quantitative process, standardizing to eliminate judgment, biasness, or variation thereof. Intuitive thinking focuses solely on an instinctive drive of creativity and intention. There are a lot of assumptions that comes around it. A streak of luck is also required in your intuitive thinking, but not so in analytical thinking. In analytical thinking, you are doing nothing but probably visualizing the problem in a different perspective and probably trying to find out the intricacies thereabout so that the desired outcome, if required, how it can be achieved. What is design problem? We have to try to address this. It is our job to ensure that we are solving the right problem. It may not be the one presented to us by the client. In fact, by initial design brief, typically as a dig deeper, more issues reveal themselves. Do your drawings reflect this, or could you have been drawn to some other iterations as the case might be? What was your hypothesis? What was your reflection? Was it correct? You may have hypothesis that a family was a mother and a father, probably with two kids, all perfectly able, so your design will reflect upon this. But what if one of the individual was not properly formed, or probably mentally or cognitively challenged? Where were you wrong? Does your visualization reflect such things? Probably they are physically fit, but cognitively one was a little delayed in their development. So, what is this all about analytical thinking? We talk about the facts that we collect. Is this evident in your visualization? For example, can a person reading your drawing see meaningful information? It should have the merit or it is false. This is qualitative based on an expert opinion, mind you. Or is it quantitative based on the performance metrics that comes around your decision? Notes about your drawing, light color, cozy, homely, etc. When you are critiquing your drawing, the analysis is deliberate. The process of breaking a problem down through an application of knowledge. You do this by applying what you know has of how you know around it. So remember this thing, knowing what you know should carefully explore all the possibilities thereby, and that is what we are looking for it for your analytical abilities to improve your visualizations and the communication process. Remember, I come to the last fag end of this presentation. As far as your design is concerned, look about your assignment. Ask yourself some question. Does your visualization communicates that you have defined the problem in a right fashion? For example, is there some aspect of iteration or reflection? Is there some bone of contentions out there when you are visualizing a problem? Was your origin hypothesis accurate? If so, does it reflect the requirement of the client? Do you think that the visualization accurately reflected your client? Think about how you need those people might change. Your social and economic, physical, and other impact might suddenly change. Now, could you provide a more advanced solutions? Remember, advanced solutions to what was exactly impending in terms of originality. Could there be more textures, more rendering, more reflections of light, shadows, lights, colors, etc., etc.? Does the analysis reflect your current updated knowledge? For example, are there aspects of your drawing that could have been better represented with a certain software? And so on. So analyze your design very clearly. Analyze it, your analytical abilities, your thinking abilities, the cognitive abilities that we are talking about it. This solution might include a redesign, reanalysis, re-representation, and further examination. With this word, I would always keep on and end to this particular presentation. And thanking all of the audiences for watching this video till the fag end. Thank you once again.